to update in the conflict with Iran, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying it's possible the United States Navy will now escort commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz as the global oil market is choked off from the Middle East supply. Let's go to News Nation's Tom Dempsey, who joins us live at the White House. Tom, what do we know about the progress of these strikes against Iran?
Hey, Alex, good evening from the White House. Well, President Trump posted to Truth Social earlier this afternoon saying that these U.S. strikes have completely decimated Iran. He also put out a call to all the countries who receive oil through the Strait of Hormuz, saying that they should do more to combat the Iranian threats in the region right now, with, of course, high gas prices impacting a lot of Americans right now. But we want to show you that post that came down earlier this afternoon. The president bringing up this issue and writing about it, quote here, the countries of the world that receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage, and we will help a lot. The U.S. will also coordinate with those countries so that everything goes quickly, smoothly, and well. But this all follows an earlier post today where he wrote, quote, many countries, especially those who are affected by Iran's attempted closure of the Hormuz Strait, will be sending warships in conjunction with the United States of America to keep the strait open and safe. This all comes after President Trump tried to really kind of ease some of the concerns about gas prices on Friday.
You're going to see a very big decrease in the price of gasoline, gas, or anything having to do with energy. But as soon as this is ended, but we had to end the nuclear threat in the Middle East and throughout the world. So we want to done that.
And Alex, President Trump added that the United States carried out big hits on our Friday against Iran, including what he described as one of the most powerful bombing raids in Middle Eastern history, targeting military sites on Karg Island, which is a key location which handles Iran's oil exports. The president saying strikes did not target oil infrastructure there, but adding that could change if the Strait of Hormuz remains contested. And like our viewers at home know right now, gas prices here in the United States still bring ongoing concerns. Gas Buddy data showing the average price for a gallon of regular up over 70 cents from last month. 70 cents and almost a quarter from last week. And to put that whole issue in perspective, Alex, United Nations data shows that maritime traffic going through the Strait of Hormuz is down 97% since this war began in the Middle East. Alex?
Yeah, and as you rightly pointed out, that information not lost on any American that's driving right now. Tom, let's talk about this new reporting, which suggests that the vice president not exactly in line with the president about this war. What do we know about that?
Yeah, there were some interesting comments earlier this week from President Trump, who described Vice President J.D. Vance as being, quote, less enthusiastic about this war when it started. But it turns out that the vice president was asked directly sort of about these possible differences between the two. Here's what he had to say.
When you're thinking about a major decision like this, the way the president makes these decisions is he talks to a lot of people. Obviously, we're thinking about various ins and outs, various options, what this looks like, how to accomplish our goals, what our goals should be. And I think it's important for the President of the United States to be able to have that conversation with his team. Part of what makes our national security team so cohesive is that we all trust each other, that we all have a very free exchange of ideas. I'd like to keep that going.
In the past, Vance has spoken against prolonged U.S. involvement in foreign countries, but actually just yesterday, Alex, we will note that Secretary of War Pete Hegseth described Vance as a very key member of the Trump administration. Alex?
All right, News Nation's Tom Dempsey live from the White House. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.